Before I start, if you like these kind of videos and you want to see more, please give me a thumbs up. Really love a thumbs up in my videos. That just tells me that you really like the content that I've shared. And then if you want to ask any questions or anything, just feel free to drop them down in the comments. Or if I've got any links, I'll drop them down there as well. That's really good to know. And obviously, I'll get back to any questions you ask. And then finally, if you do like this and you want to see more, be sure to click subscribe. Really like subscribe, and it's great to have you on subscribe, and you can see more videos that I do. Hi there guys, so my name is Thomas Parkinson and I am the owner and founder of Fast Track FBA, and today I really want to talk about my plans for October 2019, and in particular this is about going into Q4 and what I've got planned and what I'm going to be doing over this month to set myself up and my business up for success, and hopefully maybe you can take something away from this that's going to help you in your business. So let's go through this right now. Okay, so first of all, my day or my month, should we say, is going to be split into really two main areas. So October for me is about, should we say, setting myself up for Q4. It is the first month of Q4 and going to be really pushing my business into the best place I can be ready for November. Now, my first steps are going to be, should we say, I've been doing this already through September, but I'm going to be finalizing it. So if you've not done this already, what I'm about to say, I would seriously recommend you do it. It's quite a boring process, but it will literally give you the information you never knew about, whether you be brand new or starting. So my top tip, number one, would be to go into every single Facebook group that you have got or you are a member of who is part of Amazon selling, preferably in the same marketplace that you're doing, and just scroll right back until this time last year, and then start looking through every single post that was posted from today, this time last year, up until the end of Q4. And what you're looking to understand is, when were the sales? So when was the last Argos 3 for 2? When was the Tesco 50% off sale? When was Debenhams, John Lewis, all the big retailers? What are they doing? When did they do it last year? And what's likely to happen this year? So, things which happened last year are going to happen again. So get that information, put it into a calendar. Top tip number two is look at the posts that people are talking about. So what did people sell last year? Now, most people won't tell you what they sold at the beginning, but they'll tell you once they sold out. Or they will tell you how they found something and now it's sold out. And they're like, it's the best deal ever. I can't believe I bought more of it. What you're trying to do is you're trying to understand is what sold really well last year, how did they find it, and how can I now be ahead of the curve and find similar items this year. So that's going to make a real big difference because it just gives you market intelligence. So an example might be like, what's the top toys, or there might be seasonal items, for example advent calendars, and you can even today now go back into Amazon, search for all the advent calendars and look at the keeper graph back in time and see what sold really well, and then just be prepared for this time next year, or this time this year, sorry. So top tip number two is have a look at what sold last year and think about how can you do that going forward. So for me, that's what I've done already and that's what I'm doing. I'm going through not only just the post but also the comments to see what people say. And interesting enough, while we talk about Q4, we talk about the sales coming forward, what I found from my research is that actually sales start picking up around the 1st of November. People start thinking about this in November. Yes, Christmas sales, i.e. when we're buying, happen November, through to about end of November, middle of December. But customers start picking up their purchasing start of November, and that's when it starts picking up. I would probably say coming around early December is when it really starts picking up. You've got things like Black Friday, Cyber Monday. They are great times for you not only to sell, but also to buy products to sell again. And remember also as well, you don't have to be just buying these products for Christmas. These deals can be sold in January. So think about things which might sell. They're an opportunity coming up. Also as well, the one thing which I really looked at and I learned from my research was money. Like, we need money badly. And the biggest problem you have is that people kind of, what I've seen is people say, look, there's so many good deals, but I've run out of money. And the people who said that basically said, I was looking at getting a credit card in October, November, but I held fire because I was a bit unsure, and now I wish I'd done it. So my tips for me, and if you feel comfortable with this, and you've got to feel comfortable with your business, because hey, leveraging your business is a dangerous game. So don't take it to my word, it's got to be about you. This isn't financial advice. But if you can access more capital or get that available, do it now. I unfortunately hadn't used my Amex Platinum card for the best part of about a year because I didn't need it last year. So unfortunately this time, like literally a month ago, Amex cancelled it. They sent me a letter saying, we're cancelling your card because you haven't used it. And I was like, damn, there's $5,000 on that card that I could have used for Q4. So what I've done is I've just gone back through the application process and I'm now setting up a new card because, hey, that's $5,000 that I can use in my business, which is going to make such a difference. Yes, it's my personal money, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically take that money and I'm going to pay it into my business as a director's loan, and then I'm going to use that within my limited company to purchase stock, and then in 3 to 4 months' time, I'll then pay it back out to myself and then pay off the credit card, obviously less fees, or including fees. So for me is I'm really looking at getting my finances together. So thinking about how I talked about this in my last video, but talking about how much money I've got, where I can get it from. Some people talk about loans. Amazon do give out loans, but the one thing we're seeing right now is that if you've got any marks, and I do mean any marks, they're literally saying no. They're not giving you a loan. And I know people that talked in the group who were getting loans of 30, I think maybe even £50,000 last year. And that's crazy amount of money. But also it's crazy amounts of money that they no longer have access to, that they can't buy stock. So if you think about you're going to buy £50,000 worth of stock, you could probably sell it for £100,000. That's basically £100,000 worth of revenue, which is knocked off your accounts. And if you're working on 10% net profit, then that's 10 grand of profit now just disappeared. You're like, that's crazy. So just be aware, getting access to capital has a real important, but also as well, don't rely on any one single source because it's very easy for that source to no longer come through. So my third top tip, I'd say for you in quarter 4 is, or even October, get your cash available now, because when you need it, you're going to need it. When you need it and you haven't got it ready, it isn't going to help you. So get your cash available now, get your credit lines, get everything you need done today. So for me, Amex credit cards, bank overdrafts, looking at extending them, even if it's personal loans, you can do that. This is the time you make the money. They say in Q4 you can make more money than 1, 2 and 3 combined. You can make all your money this quarter and then stop because there's so many sales and then people are buying so much more that you can now take a rest and go do something else for the next 3 months or 3 quarters and then come back next Q4 and do it all again. So very normal. So also as well, I talked a bit about going back through the history, so really looking at that history and just understanding what sells, what doesn't, and not only on the Facebook groups but also on my own sales from last year, what worked, what didn't, also when the sales happened, and then finally the other thing which I will be doing in regards to looking at my history is going back through the keeper charts, what worked really well. So for example, this is Q4, we're talking about advent calendars, but a couple of things you might kind of pick up upon now for this time of year is, hey, this is Halloween. There's a real opportunity right now to be buying lots of stuff for Halloween, buying and selling. Me personally, I don't do too much for it because I don't like how short the period is. I very much prefer consistent sellers and I don't like taking that risk. But if you're willing to risk it and you know the data's there, i.e. like Halloween, it sells, keeper graph show you, then you can make some really good money very quickly. You just need to make sure you're getting it in at the right time. Another tip I'd really recommend, you haven't done it because I keep banging on about this, is sign up to all the deal sites. So I'm not saying the deal sites, I mean the websites. So Q4, you should have subscribed to the newsletters, emails from Argos, Tesco, Debenhams, John Lewis, Robert Dias, Early Learning Centre, Playmobil, all these things, and you should have them into another email address, and you should be checking that daily because you want to know when the sales are happening, and when the sales happen, you are there ready to work. So I'd really, really recommend, if you haven't done it already, sign up that email account, make that information available to you so that you can allocate your time productively, so that you're most likely going to hit the sales when they happen. For example, we've just had a Argos 50% off sale. Now, if you didn't know about that sale, with the likes of Argos, if you didn't know about it and get on it on day 1, if you found out about it 2 days later, it's dead. It's completely dead. Everyone would have bought the stock. It's useless. But if you can get in there in the first few hours, you're going to get the prize possession. You're going to get the great stock. And as a result, what's going to happen is that means you get the good deals. This is very much around fastest fingers first. It's a shame, but this is the way it works sometimes, and you need to make yourself in a position to be available for it. So I think my fourth, and I think I probably just did the fourth a minute ago, but I'll say my fourth and final tip is, or the final thing that I'm doing in my October business, is that I'm aware that come Christmas, there are so many deals available. I talked about having all these emails available from the supplier. I've talked about looking at last year's information, new sales coming up. There is going to be so much more work to be done because, hey, there's so many more deals to buy, and there's so much more to sell. So from me and my perspective, what I've just done is I've just gone through a hiring process, and I've just hired 5 VAs for a 1-week trial, of which I'll probably look to keep 1, maybe 2 on. And the idea is that I train them up for 2 days. I pay them for this whole time. I train them up for 2 days, and then I test them for 5 days, all on the same stores. And what I'm looking for is to understand who is the best. So for me and my business in October, right now, I'm going through a 1-week trial for 5 staff who are all paid, and they're all aware of that as well, in the fact that I will take the best member of staff and I will use them in my business going forward to help drive my Q4 and really help drive my business. So for me, it's about, I've got my systems in place now, I've got a good team, we've got operations. Now I just need some more staff to help me managing these increased deal workloads, increased opportunities to source from. There's more going on in the general arbitrage marketplace that I want the staff to help me do that. So for me, my final top tip is, if you haven't got the staff in place already, get them in place now. It takes time, and when I was a manager, we used to say it takes 4 weeks minimum from the moment you advertise to the moment they start adding value to your business, or they start actually hiring. I think it was 13 weeks they started adding value. But for you, if you're going to take a look at the whole hiring process, it's going to be week 1 advert, week 2 is actually interview, week 3 is probably get them trained, and then week 4 they actually start doing something, adding value to your business. And still they're very new. So maybe week 5, after that 1 whole month, they start adding value. So if you and think about it, if you do it today, if this comes out in October, then that's going to be November when they start like really adding value. So time disappears very quickly. So if you are looking at doing that, not a problem. I personally use onlinejobs.ph to find a lot of my VAs who will do the sourcing. I'll drop a link down here in the description, and if you want to use that, you can as well. I will just say it's an affiliate link, so I will get paid, but it's a good place to find staff, and I find it great, and they're English speaking, so really easy to communicate, and I found some brilliant people who've been with me for a number of years. Right, so for me, Thomas Parkinson, that is my plan, my top tips for October 2019, and hopefully setting up for Q4 and getting into Q4 really like flying, all guns going, and having the best Q4 ever. Hopefully you found this interesting. If you have, please give me a big thumbs up. I really like a good thumbs up, just to know that feedback, to say thank you for the video. If you've got any questions, or even if you just liked it, give me a comment down here. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to click the subscribe button, and I think that is down here. So click subscribe, and also I'll do lots of videos like this, just kind of giving you my top tips, my thoughts about what I'm doing in my business, and hopefully you can take some of that away. But from me, Thomas Parkinson at Fast Track FBA, thank you very much.